Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia and this is the summary for the day of 1217 for the 24th of June. And you guys say that you guys want to see my face. Though, and yeah, so face. Then yeah. So yeah, I'm not sure why. I saw a lot of comments say that it's more human. Okay, so okay. I mean, okay, I understand because a lot of the mappers all don't show their face, so I understand, you know. So let's start off with the north over in the Sumy front. The Russians in the past this past day has captured quite a number of grounds and a number of settlements. So basically it's like all this past few days that was like overly quiet or seemingly overly quiet, relatively speaking, is yeah, it's just information not sent through. Maybe it's a weekend problem, weekend and the people are just lazy to post more. I'm not sure. So anyway, over at the Sumi front, we have nothing over at the Takino sector. Nothing happening over there. There's also nothing happening over the Belgorod sector. The only thing happening is over in the north of Sumy, which is over here, this is Sumy, with the Russians' main offensive place. So we have fighting reported as Satki, Yunakivka, towards Krapiv Skinner, Novosich, Malakuchakivka, Andreevka, and Kondrativka. So this basically across the entire front line around here. So I just zoom out a bit so that you can see a bit better, and the arrow does look a bit thicker in this way. So there is still no clear indications the Russians are going to go for the settlements here yet, because this is where the line, the buffer zone likely is going to be. So we shall wait and see how this goes, because we have all this mention of all these different names, but does not necessarily mean that the Russians are going for it. Because we go to the Kharkiv front. This is a good example, which is the Lipsy sector. So we have fightings reported at Lipsy. You can see this ridiculous list of ridiculous list of fighting reported, but the Russians never come really close to Lipsy. The furthest they went was like, I think here and around here. Like they didn't go very far, and which is why I say the buffer zone. This is where the buffer zone is. So the Russians could potentially continue to attack Lipsy, but then no, they're not going to go for there. So this is something might be happening at Sumy. So while we have all these locations being mentioned, like all these forest towns here, don't expect too much from this sector here. I don't think at this moment there's no evidence the Russians are going to go for them anymore. So over the Kharkiv front, Kharkiv city, and the Russians are back on the flanks. Udi, Kozacha-Lopan region and the eastern part, there is something happening. Over the Udi, Kozacha-Lopan region, Russian forces attack Kraniv as well as Udi. So this happened again. Udi is getting targeted a bit more. So we shall wait and see how this develop. Yeah, so I think it's just diversionary for now. Over in the Voschansk sector, we have fighting reported at Voschansk as well as Voschanski Kotori. So this remains to be the case, with Voschansk mentioned by both Russian and Ukrainians, and the Russians mentioned Voschanski Kotori. Might be a delay in report. Yeah, because of the way how the Russians make their reports. Their report is like in the middle of the day, and it does mix one day with another. It's very confusing. So when opposed to the Ukrainians, they report 3 times a day, so which is much more clearer. So over in this town, Sherbene, so just take note, this is a very simplified mapping, but the Russians are attacking this border town. This is actually under Ukrainian control. So yeah, so that's all. But because this is a very far away thing, so usually not much fighting here, which is why the front line is simplified. If not, then the file size of this mapping may get a bit too heavy. So that's all from the Kharkiv front. We go on to the Voronezh front. This is Voreshna, and at the Voreshna front, we still have fighting reported at Kanyamka. Kanyamka was mentioned in the reports from the Ukrainian side. Then over in the Voreshna, this one already mentioned in yesterday's SITREP. Because yesterday's SITREP is a little later, which is why this is already covered. It's part of the 24th. So is this fighting reported towards Holubivka and Rakivka. This frontline change is also already mentioned yesterday. So that's all from the Voreshna front. Over in the Kupiansk front, at the Kupiansk front, we have fighting reported over in the north towards Kupiansk as usual. Over in the southern half, we have fighting reported at Stepova Novoselivka, towards Pischane and towards Kurilivka. So that's all. Kurilivka is a bit rare. We seldom see Kurilivka mentioned. So maybe there's some Russian advance in this sector that we're not aware of. We shall see. We shall wait and see how this goes. Yeah, we can only work with sources. That's how it goes. Over the Borova front. This is Borova. At the Borova front, there is shelling reported across the river at Horokhovka. There is also fighting reported at Kuliakivka as well as Zeleny High. So generally speaking, very skirmishy to me. Nothing particularly stands out. We go on further south to the Oskil front. So this is the Oskil front. Over this region here, we have fighting reported at Kharkivka, towards Drizlyubivka and Novy Maya. The frontline change over here we already mentioned yesterday, which is the Russians closing of the impossible salient and the capture of Mikhailivka. And then there's fighting reported at Karpivka as well. So that is the main gist of the fighting around here. Nothing particularly special for now. Looks like there is 3 different directions of attack. As the Russians try to consolidate all these positions. It's like the terrain here is horrible. But that is the cost, because the Russians used to have conquered this place in 2022. They overrun the position. Then after the Balaklia offensive by the Ukrainians, the Russians was routed entirely from the Kharkiv region. They retreated across all these places towards the Zarabets River, and then they got basically rescued. The relief came after the partial mobilization forces reached and helped to hold the line. And these partial mobilization troops, those that immediately came here to rescue these people or to help to hold the line, are the people who complained that they didn't even get the training and got thrown to the front line. Yeah, that was what happened, because it was that desperate. So you can see now the Russians are paying for their incompetence in that sense, or the delay, because of politics, because Putin cannot just it is against their law, generally speaking, to just order troops to go to war without justifications. So you have to weigh the politics as well. So it's until they realize that the war is no longer a SMO. It's more like a bigger war than he wanted. So partial mobilization happened. They sent the troops, and they managed to plug the hole along the Zarabets River, which is here. Is it here? Yeah, it's here, right? The Zarabets River. Yeah, the Zarabets River is around here. And then now the Russians have to fight through this difficult place again, where they lost this ground to the Ukrainians very, very quickly. Now they have to fight it back through very hard means. So something to take note of. So over in the Liman front, this is Liman, and for those that do not know, Liman used to be under Russian control as well. This is also part of the withdrawal. The line finally stopped around here. This front line had not changed much in 3 years. So the Russians managed to hold Crimea, and then they failed to retake Liman since. But they did capture Liman in the offensive in 2022. And then they went on to fight to Svetohursk, and then they just lost it. They just lost it due to the Balaklia offensive. Liman front fighting is reported at Serene. Zelena Dolina, Chandri Holove, and Kuleziazi, as well as Torske. So that's the main gist. This looks like the main offensive is moving in the direction of Novoselivka. So let me draw. No, is it how you draw this? Yeah, yeah, in this direction. So some history lessons for those that forgotten it. Because the Russians, previously they were fighting down this way. Crimea was fought pretty hard, and then they went down to Dniprovo, and then they went to Liman. They tried to cross the river here, and then got destroyed. And the Ukrainians celebrated because all the Russian armored vehicles got destroyed trying to cross the river. The Russians was attacked to Svetogorsk. They got stuck here. The Ukrainian lines basically held at Rehorodok. These areas all under Russian control. Yeah, those were the days. Long time ago, 2022. So we go to the Siversk front. This Siversk and at the Siversk front in the northern half, fighting is reported over at Krikorievka and Serbianka. There is also fighting reported towards Siversk. So I remember a comment yesterday. Someone said that put the name of the place. I know it's very small. I can actually give you the name bigger. So this is the actually usual size. Yeah, this is the usual size. So I'm not sure if you prefer this. So fighting at Krikorievka, Serbianka, and towards Siversk. So let me know in the comment. Do you want this 100% zoom, which is the normal size, or should I zoom out a bit like this, so that we can focus more on the terrain, rather than everything covered up by the icons. Yeah, you let me know in the comments. I shall see how you guys vote. Yeah, and yeah, don't trust voting, some people say, but it all depends on who is counting the votes. So yeah, it's getting a bit laggy. But so the frontline change at Ivano-Darivka I already covered yesterday. There is shelling reported at Risnikivka. This is part of the resupply route the Ukrainians used to resupply the Siversk front. So this is getting hit. So let's see how this goes. We move on to the Bakhmut front. This is Bakhmut. At the Bakhmut front, fighting is reported at Privilia, Chasivya, and Stupovsky. Nothing special about this for now. Nothing stands out for now. There is a geolocation of a ground strike at the air base at airport at Kramatorsk. So this is Kramatorsk, and then there's a strike on this air base. I wondered, yeah, this airbase looks very damaged. Yeah, you see, it looks pretty damaged. This is the updated. These are updated mapping. So anyway, is there any planes here? Yeah, doesn't look like it. Yeah, it looks pretty deserted. So anyway, over in the thorax sector. So over in the thorax sector, so can I squeeze in everything? Yeah, barely. So we have fighting reported at Bilahora, Dilievka, and towards Ivanopilia. Fighting is reported at Thorax. There is a report from the Russian open source saying that the Ukrainians are attacking in the western part of Thorax. Fighting is reported at Novospassky and over at Nelipivka region. So that's about it. It's interesting that Ukrainians are counter-attacking in the west of Thorax. But yeah, probably around the Skibinivka region. Otherwise, again, this is pretty routine by now. The frontline changes over here already covered yesterday. So we move on to the western flank of this New York front. So we can cover this as a whole. Yeah, as a whole. So Black Hole. Also fighting reported at Yablonivka, Rusinya, Potavka, and towards Volodymyrivka. The frontline change here we already mentioned is fighting moving in the direction of Votoreske, around the Kharkiv region. Probably the front line is straightened by now. There's a geolocation of hit of Ukrainian forces at Volodymyrivka. So Russians are pushing in this direction. Who knows, the front line might actually look like this right now. Given the passing of time, it is possible that the Russians is now pushing in this direction in this way. So that's it. I just realized everything is very, very sideways. Yeah. That's the main gist. So Novotoretsk is here. Novotoretsk, Volodymyrivka. Yeah, so that's it. We move on to the happy birthday, France. Happy birthday to you if your birthday today, and which is the Minohrad sector of the Pokrov front. This is Minohrad. This Minohrad is it's like a very this is like a peanut that have very good figure. So this is a peanut, but have very very good figure. But reverse, the head should be here, and the hands and the legs. Yeah. So anyway, so there is fighting reported over this sector. So let me see, how do I control this? Fighting is reported at Merne, Melanivka, Yelizavetivka, Marolubivka, Promin, towards Minohrad, Lisivka, and there is and then here Novopalivka and Pokrov is also mentioned, but of course this is part of Pokrov sector. So the fighting here remains largely the same idea. This is a static line. Don't expect too much from this line. And the Russians are pushing for Novoekonomichny as well as Mykolaiivka. So this remains the main push. This remains the main push, the main direction of attack. Whereas the Ukrainians are feeling sexy at Minohrad as well as over at Pokrov. So we go to the Pokrov sector. So at the Pokrov sector, so let me see how to do this. Okay, so as mentioned just now, fighting is reported towards Pokrov. There is fighting reported Udashne. I almost want to say Uchiha for some reason. I watched too much Naruto clips lately. This Uchiha, and then Serhievka, and then there is Novoserhievka, Novomykolaivka, and Muravka. Frontline changes over at Novoserhievka confirmed the Russian capture of Novoserhievka, which I did also mention in yesterday's situation report. So that's mainly it. The mention of Serhievka, consecutively is interesting. 23rd and 24th, it looks like there is a major push in this direction by the Russian forces, which involve Udashne as well. So that's interesting to me. Otherwise, the Russians are pushing westward as usual around the Muravka region. There is mention of Chuhujiv or Chuhuyeve. This is a bit of unusual. This is the first time this is mentioned, I guess. Yeah, this is the first time it is mentioned. So it does looks like the Russians are pushing in this direction pretty hard. Muravka, Kotlyarivka, Novomykolaivka, Novoserhievka, and they are trying to move on this direction. So, but it's not going to be fast. The terrain here doesn't look pretty good. There is a river going through this place, the Solena River. So yeah. So further south, in the southern flank, as mentioned, Borovka, Kotlyarivka, fighting is reported also at Orikove, Bodanivka, and Stripne. So that's all. Nothing particularly stands out for me other than it's weird to call Stripne again by the Ukrainians and Bodanivka. So we move on to the next front line, the Koma front, and do press the subscribe button and press the like button and comment. And also, I also realized about the algorithm that your comment, what you write in the comment, actually affects the SEO of the YouTube, the algorithm of the YouTube. For example, if you write something, let's say you write Andrew Tate, everybody write Andrew Tate in the comments. Then when people who watch Andrew Tate's video or videos on Andrew Tate, this video will get recommended because of the comments. So if everybody write Denis Davidov, then when people watches Denis Davidov, our video will come out. Yeah, it's a interesting thing. I'm not sure if it works or not. So yeah, but something to consider for you guys when you guys comment. Comment something meaningful or some topics. For example, yeah, like I don't know, hamster. Then people watch hamster videos and then this video come out. So So you guys can comment strategically to to decide where the DPA army should attack. You guys are the commanders. Don't forget, you guys are commanders. So over in the Koma front, the Ukrainian mapping, Deep State UA has considered that Andriivka is now under Russian control. They also considered Constantinople. So they finally decided that these two has been lost. When the Russians already went this far away, like this all the way out there, like this already this far, and the Russians already captured, by geolocation confirmed that the Russians have captured Yalta, but they only just confirmed Andriivka and Constantinople. Yeah, so weird. Okay, so the Russians are attacking at Oleksievka, Brahatir, Dashne, and capture of Yalta is confirmed. Fighting is reported at Zaporizhia and towards Zerka, and there is fighting reported at Koma. So that is the main gist with this frontline changes around here. I will zoom in a while. So moving into this frontline changes region, so you can see Yalta is very captured with the geolocations showing the Russians waving the flag in every possible place, because they got pissed off by me, because I always don't I always don't map them as captured, because I said no, just conservative mapping we cannot confirm. So they made it a point, it's like this freaking riot, so they made it a point Yalta is confirmed captured, and because Yalta is captured means that Zaporizhia must be captured, which is why Zaporizhia is also now confirmed captured. And also because of the geography here, that means everything off the Volcha River in the southern bank of the Volcha River must be under Russian control, which is why this entire region is all under Russian control. And the Russians from this point is attacking Zerka, which makes sense, and attacking Dashne, and that also makes sense. So this is a frontline change in this sector. This is a very major update. And so I also realized I should actually paste this here to mention about Zaporizhia. So oh my god, Zaporizhia. So that's that's how I map it. Everything is typed and paste, or copy and paste. Everything is manual. So that's all from the Koma sector. Over in the other half of the sector, I can't even squeeze everything in. So let's do this. So fighting is reported at Dnipro and here. Yeah, according to the Ukrainians, super weird because this is so captured. Fighting is reported at Versailles. Fighting is reported moving towards what's the name again? Voskresenka, and there is frontline changes over Shevchenko. Ukrainian mapping have updated. The Russians have captured more of Shevchenko. Fighting is reported at Vinnypole towards Komishuvakha, Novosilka, Zelenopole, as well as Novopil. So if you look at this, it looks exactly like what it is. The Russians are fighting across the entire front line. They're pushing in a massive big arrow direction across this area. They want to quickly capture everything of Donetsk in this sector here. So the border is here between Dnipro and Donetsk, and you can see the Russians are making the push to capture literally all of these places in this area here. So a very, very ambitious push by the Russians. And over at Shevchenko, you can see that it's near full capture. Shevchenko is on the verge of full capture by the Russian forces. And so this is the Ukrainian mapping. So pretty important developments around here. So, and which means also this alleged defense line is breached as well. So a lot of bad news for the Ukrainians. So we move on from this sector to the Zaporizhia front. So this is Zaporizhia, and this is the Zaporizhia front. And over the Huyaipole sector, this is Huyaipole, there is fighting reported at Melanivka, and shelling is reported at Uspenivka and Solotke. So these two is mentioned. There's some shelling in that position. So which means the Ukrainians having their operating HQ might be here. conducting the operations from that position down to the front line. There is a possibility. So which is why that place is attracted Russian attention. So over in the Orikhiv and the Kanyamsky sector, this is Orikhiv, Kanyamsky. So fighting is reported at Kanyamsky, shelling is reported at Stepnohursk, Primorsky, and Novopalivka. So you can see this is as per analyzed that this is pretty much a diversionary. The offensive here is pretty much not that serious. So that's all from the Zaporizhia front. And we go to the last front line. And consider support DPA on Patreon. Yeah, because that helps to create a buffer. As mentioned, the algo is horrible nowadays for us. And if the view continue to plummet, which means the revenue will continue to plummet, then it will reach a point where the revenue is too low, which means that I will just abandon YouTube or I will just put this as a very part-time thing, which means the report might not be every day. I may not be mapping anymore. I will be focusing on other businesses that can actually pay the bills. So this is a real situation. It's not a joke. So by right, we will need 20,000, 30,000 at minimum in terms of viewership per video to make sense. Now we are like only like almost 20,000 with 2 videos to reach the number. So I'm working more. Like I do 2 videos a day, as opposed to, let's say in 2022 I only do 1 video a day, and there's only SITREP. There's nothing else. Usually I only do SITREP. Then most of the time there's only 1 video a day. So now I do 2 videos a day as a bare minimum, just to keep it up. If not, there's not enough revenue to keep this going. So serious situation, not a joke. So otherwise, the Dnipro direction, Ukrainians mentioned attacks. We usually put it at the pre-Dniprovsky region, but this is just for reference purposes. But that's it. So this is the summary for the day of 1217 for the 24th of June. For those that want to access this map, the link is in the description below. Patreon, Coffee, Boosty, and locals is all the links is also in the description below. Also participate in the DPS community, DPA Telegram, Discord, forum, chat, X, everything description below. And I'll see you guys in the next update.